The purpose of these lessons is to show you the logic behind the most basic Chinese characters, beginning with the simplest pictograms, and later combining these elements to create more complex characters. This lesson contains 6 characters, 5 of which are based on the character for silk, which appears here in its full form and unsimplified, pronounced first tone, s, s. It's a drawing of 2 hanks of silk, as they appear in their ancient form, old form, and as they're written today. The radical for silk takes many forms, so I've broken this character into 4 distinct components and divided up the resulting parts into 3 individual lessons, beginning with the lesson before this one, lesson 57, and continuing with this installment. This lesson introduces characters having the simple silk element plus the bottom fringe. I've colored it blue throughout. Our first character began as a bunch of silk with a ladle alongside as phonetic. We first encountered this ladle or spoon in the ubiquitous character for the bullseye of a target, di, also pronounced with a neutral tone, d. This new combination is pronounced first tone, yue, yue, and basically means to bind or constrain, with the silk component indicating rope, similar to what we saw in our last lesson with hou, rope resulting from the plaiting or braiding of strands of hemp or other material. 请约她来, please invite her. Notice that 请 is the polite phrase equivalent to please in English, but when put after 约, it simply means to invite. 我不知道我太太想约请多少朋友. I don't know how many friends my wife is planning to invite. Adding 请 is not necessary. More common are the phrases 约好 and 约了 for agreeing to meet up or for arranging an appointment. 他约了女朋友去看电影. He made a date with his girlfriend to see a movie. 他们约好在大门口会面. They agreed to meet up at the main entrance. The rather long phrase 约人会面 is the obvious origin of 约会, meaning to make a date or appointment, either as a noun or verb. 你早上有个重要的约会. You've got an important appointment in the morning. When you want to set up the time for an appointment, you could use 约定时间. 你打电话约定个时间. Call and set up an appointment. Of course, appointments may be broken, unintentionally or otherwise, expressed by 失约. 我不是有意失约的. I didn't break our date on purpose. 他没有打电话来说他为什么失约. He didn't call to say why he missed the appointment. For another common use of this character, there is the expression 约束. 束 from lesson 9, meaning a tied up bundle of sticks. Together they mean to restrict or constrain. 我哥是不能加以约束的. One cannot put restrictions on my brother. We've seen 加以 before. indicating how something is to be managed or dealt with, literally imposed upon. So, my brother can't tolerate having restrictions imposed on him. 人的诺言没什么约束力. Promises have little constraining effect on the people who make them. From appointments and restrictions, the character 约 is extended to include estimations and probabilities, which are also a restriction of sorts, a limit which the speaker decides. It's found in the phrase 大约, meaning about, approximately, or probably. 我想得花大约3小时. I figure it'll take about 3 hours. 他们大约是去北京了. They probably went to Beijing. And here is a somewhat formal expression indicating a summary is about to follow. 大约言之. In brief, in short, in a word. You may remember in the lesson on the heart radical, lesson 29, I introduced several characters containing what looks like the character for field or rice paddy, tian, but which is actually a crude drawing of a baby's head, with lines indicating the soft, boneless area called the fontanelle. What began as the cute child pictogram added hair and lines on its huge head, plus 2 distinct legs. Pronounced xin. It's the phonetic for s. It's also the phonetic in today's new character pronounced fourth tone, xi, xi, meaning thin, slight, fine, and delicate. Combining the lightly pulsating blood flow, as seen at the fontanelle, with the gossamer thin strands of silk. A kind of spaghetti-like noodles are called xi mian. A kind of fine rain, or drizzle, is called 细雨. 外面的细雨下个不停. Outside, the drizzle is coming down non-stop. 小心 means to be careful. 细心 means to pay attention to details, especially attentive to the needs of others. 我的男友很细心. 妈很在意这个. My boyfriend is very attentive. Mom considers that important, in case my boyfriend and I decide to marry. As an adjective, 细 often combines with 精 to express intricate, detailed workmanship. 木头刻花的手工很精细. Carving designs on wood is intricate work. 细 can also be used as an adverb. 细问 means to ask detailed questions. 他们之间的事不可细问. Don't ask for details about the relationship. 把我说的话细细地想想. Consider carefully what I've just said. Literally, reflect in detail on what I've just said. Today's third character is an ideogram of a hand tying together 2 bundles of silk, later reduced to only 1 bundle, plus the purple phonetic E, indicating a pulling or lengthening movement. The resulting combination is pronounced fourth tone, xi, xi. It means to bring together, a connection, lineage, or even a department in a college or university. In literary Chinese, it's also a linking verb, such as to be in English. It's the literary equivalent of colloquial Mandarin 是. 语系 is a language family, such as Indo-European, which would include English and French, for example. 银河系, the Milky Way galaxy. The fourth character in today's lesson takes the upper part of hua in lesson 43 and chui in lesson 52, showing branches laden with heavy blooms, and combines it with a silk radical to depict a limp hank of raw silk. This newly spun silk has not yet been dyed, giving this character the meaning of plain, basic, simple, white, the original state something is found in. For example, on the chemical table of basic elements, we have oxygen. 氧是个元素. Oxygen is an element. 要素 is a basic essential. 从事这行需要把握什么要素? What are the basic essentials one needs to grasp in this business? 因素 is a factor or original element. 时间是一个限制因素. Time is a limiting factor. 卡车出事全是人为因素. The truck accident was due entirely to human factors. Another way to express the adverb always, besides 一直 and 向来, is 素来, literally unchanged from the original state up to the present. 我哥哥素来是十分外向. My brother's always been very outgoing. 他素来否认有这件事情. He's always denied what happened. What could be more basic to our primitive ancestors than eating seasonal fruits and plants? Chasing down animals for their meat was obviously energy intensive, and it had a high failure rate. So, 素食 and 吃素 both mean vegetarian, but not necessarily vegan. 你为什么想成为素食者? Why did you want to become vegetarian? 我朋友中有不少人吃素. Quite a few of my friends are vegetarian. And a common protein source for vegetarians is soybean products. 素肉丁 soy meat cubes. Chinese vegetarians and Buddhist monks and nuns have a choice of many different soy meat alternatives. Curiously named vegetarian beef, vegetarian pork, and vegetarian chicken. By the way, you may have noticed that 素食 can mean either fast food or vegetarian food, depending on which of the two 素 homonyms you choose. Confusion can be avoided by saying 吃素 for vegetarian. When a person insists on going their own way, regardless of others' advice, there's a common idiom to express this unfortunate personality trait. 我行我素. Literally, I go as I've always gone. 不用跟他说什么，他向来我行我素. No need to tell him anything. He's always gone his own way. Notice how this is a fixed phrase, used like an adjective or verb. The pronoun 我 never changes. 你不能我行我素，不在意别人看法. You can't always do it your way, ignoring what others think. Now we have to talk about the weather for a moment, so we have the background information necessary to understand another character coming up. We learned the characters for cloud, rain, hail, snow, lightning, and frost in Lesson 24. But we left out thunder, especially those loud, rumbling booms, one overlapping the other, as depicted in our next character. This character began as lightning, with ovals or circles on either side representing the rumbling sound from the churning clouds. These circles were replaced by 2, then 4 crudely drawn carriage wheels to express the deafening peals of thunder. Neither rice fields nor baby heads, this triple wheel element, pronounced lei, was eventually reduced to just 1 wheel, and imparted that pronunciation to rolling thunder. Lei, lei. The verb phrase for to thunder is 打雷. 我小侄子很怕打雷跟闪电. My little nephew is afraid of thunder and lightning. 阴云很多，好像要有雷雨. Lots of dark clouds overhead. Looks like a thunderstorm coming. This same triple-wheeled phonetic depicting successive peals of thunder combines with the silk radical to suggest the overlapping and interweaving of strands of material to make rope. An extended sense is to pile layer upon layer, accumulate, repeat. I'll begin with this extended sense, pronounced third tone, and doubled in the phrase lei lei. It means again and again, countless, innumerable, literally piled up. 问题累累, countless problems. 累计 means a grand total, the accumulated total. 工会的会员累计有5000人. The union has a grand total of 5,000 members. When anything piles up, it tends to become a burden, expressed in Mandarin as 拖累. 如今子女多是个拖累. Nowadays, having a lot of children is a burden. 拖累 can also be a verb, meaning to hold others back, to weigh them down. 你们去爬山吧，我怕拖累大家. You go hiking. I'm afraid I'll hold you all back. 累积, literally, impose a burden on, means to implicate or involve, especially in a medical sense. 若不开刀，我怕它会累积大脑. If we don't operate, I'm afraid it'll affect the brain. 它 here could be a cancerous tumor, for example. The fourth tone pronunciation, lei, lei, takes this sense of accumulation and burden to its logical conclusion of strain and fatigue, becoming the most common way to say you're tired. 您累不累? Are you tired? 累是累了，可是我不能停止. I may be tired, but I can't stop now. If one suffers extreme fatigue to the point of exhaustion, one could say, 累倒. 他在后面追我们，直到他累倒为止. He chased us right up until he dropped from exhaustion. To cause others to suffer a burden, or to implicate or involve them in something troublesome, is 连累. 你少说话，不要连累其他人. keep quiet. Don't implicate anyone else. 这事跟我不相干，你别连累到我。I have nothing to do with this. Don't involve me in it. The above two pronunciations, lei and lei, are basically as I've indicated in my examples. However, don't be surprised if you hear different speakers sometimes switch the tones in some expressions. Here is our color chart with today's 6 characters. 约 lei, lei. 细 su, and another xi. Here's a recap from today's lesson. 1. 5 of the 6 new characters in this lesson are composed of the silk radical, complete with its bottom fringe, a continuation of the previous lesson. 2. The character yue with the ladle phonetic means to bind with a rope, which easily extends to binding agreements, contracts, and appointments. Examples include 约好 to make a date or appointment, 约会 as a verb to make an appointment, as a noun, the appointment itself. 约定时间 to arrange a time to meet. 失约 to break a date or be a no-show for an appointment. Binding also implies the imposition of restrictions or restraints on others, as in 约束 or 加以约束. Giving an estimation or probability is another form of restriction, limiting the scope of a number or activity. Chinese uses the expression 大约 when giving a ballpark figure or guessing what's likely to occur, translating to approximately or probably in English. 3. An element representing a newborn baby's skull is the phonetic in xi, meaning thin, slight, fine, or delicate as strands of silk. For example, 细面 means spaghetti like noodles. 细雨 fine rain or drizzle. 细心 to be attentive to details and the needs of others. 精细 intricate, detailed workmanship. 细问 to ask detailed questions. 细细地想 to reflect carefully. 4. Another character, also pronounced xi, shows a hand tying bundles of silk together. It expresses the idea of connecting, bringing things together, and, unsurprisingly, serves as a be verb in literary Chinese. In modern colloquial Cantonese, xi is the usual be verb, hai. 语系 is a language family. 银河系 is the Milky Way galaxy. And xi is the character for a university department. 5. Su is a limp bundle of undyed silk. In other words, silk in its original raw state. Today it refers to anything plain, basic, simple, or the color white. The chemical elements are called yuan su. A basic, essential, or chief ingredient is yao su. A factor is yin su. Another way to say up to the present or always is su lai. Vegetarian food is su shi. To eat or be a vegetarian is chi su. Soybean meat alternatives are called su rou. Anyone who ignores the advice of others and does his or her own thing can be described by the idiom 我行我素. 6. I included the character for thunder, 雷, because its phonetic element is the same as in 累, meaning fatigued or heavily burdened. This phonetic consists of 3 rumbling wheels to indicate the peals of thunder in quick succession. The 3 wheels are often reduced to 1, but the pronunciation and basic meaning remain the same. Things in a heap, overlapping, burdensome, and finally, tiring. Examples with third tone include 累累, countless, innumerable; 累计, a grand total; 拖累, become a burden, to weigh someone down; 累积, to implicate or involve. Fourth tone expressions are I'm tired, 我很累; I collapsed from exhaustion, 我累倒了. Don't implicate others, 不要连累其他人. Now you will find a short quiz on double, triple character, and longer expressions. Answer using only the characters learned so far. Thank you for watching and listening.